So if you've been learning to solo and you know you're playing in the right key, but something doesn't sound right, then this video might be for you. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about chord tones. I'm going to show you what chord tones are and how to use them in your playing. Something that's going to help you out a lot is if you know the caged system. I've done a video on the caged system you can check out there, but it's absolutely not a requirement for this video. So let's get straight into it. Enjoy. So we are going to be playing solo over the chords F, A minor, G, and C. And I've made a really cheesy backing track to solo over today, but it's good fun. We're playing in the key of C, which means we can play the C major pentatonic scale. You may also know it as the A minor pentatonic scale. So let's quickly run over this shape. So 5th fret and 8th fret of the low E string, 5th fret, 7th fret of the A string, 5th fret, 7th fret of the D string, same thing on the G string again, 5th fret, 8th fret of the B string, and 5th fret, 8th fret of the high E string. Now we can use this shape and just solo with these notes, and it will sound pretty good over the chords in the backing track. So let's take a listen to how that sounds. Okay, so that sounded good. That sounded like a really decent solo. You could get away with that, but it seemed to kind of lack a sense of direction, like that extra something that made it into a memorable lick. This is where chord tones come in. So chord tones are basically any chord that's being played. Say we're playing an F chord. So in our F chord, we've got an F, an A, and a C. Any one of those notes is a chord tone. So anywhere we play an F, anywhere we play an A, or anywhere we play a C is a chord tone. And these chords sound really lovely over our chords because they're notes that are within the chord. Okay, so let's take a look at where we can target these chords in the same sort of area as the pentatonic scale that we're playing. First of all, let's take a look at the chord F. So the chord F, we can start here at the 8th fret of the A string. That's one of our chord tones. The 7th fret of the D string, the 5th fret of the G string, the 6th fret of the B string, the 5th fret of the high E string, and the A there on the 5th fret of the low E string as well, and the 8th fret of the low E string as well. Let's take a look at the chord tones for A minor. So we've got the 5th fret of the low E string, the 8th fret of the low E string, the 7th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the top 3 strings, G, B, and E, and we've got the 8th fret of the high E string. Now let's take a look at the next chord in the chord progression, which is G. So we've got the 5th fret of the D string, the 7th fret of the G string, the 8th fret of the B string, and the 7th fret of the high E string as well. We can also play the 5th fret of the A string and the 7th fret of the low E string as well. And C, for the C chord, we have the 8th fret of the low E string, the 7th fret of the A string, the 5th fret of the D string, the 5th fret of the G string, the 9th fret of the G string, or we can play the 5th fret of the B string, it's the same note, the 8th fret of the B string, and the 8th fret of the high E string. Now, any one of those chord tones over the particular chord that the chord tone belongs to will sound really nice if you stick around on it over the chord, and it's a nice way to start and to end your licks. So let's take a listen to what a little lick would sound like with just chord tones. Now that also sounds really quite cool. So what if we were to take this minor pentatonic scale and mix it with the chord tones? Well, let's find out. Here's a little lick that I made. So as you can see, every time there was a new chord introduced in the chord progression, I started the bar with a chord tone. And what that does is it really highlights the progression there when you're playing those chord tones. It's what separates a mediocre solo from a solo that's memorable and that has impact. Try adding these chord tones in over the backing track. The backing track is available for download at my Patreon page, but I'll chuck a minute or two at the end of this video so you can jam along with it as well. Now there's a couple of ways you can get better at using chord tones. So first of all would be to learn the caged system. I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. I have a video up there talking about the caged system if you want to learn more about it. And also, just to try practicing over lots of different types of chord progressions, working out where the chord tones are in those chord progressions and trying to target them specifically. That will really, really take your licks to the next level when it comes to the sound and the emotion that these licks give off. So, if you enjoyed the video, please click like. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. If you have any suggestions for videos, let me know in the comments as well. And subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and consider subscribing to my Patreon page down in the description for as little as $2 a month. And I will see you in the next video.